today, and the local MPs and local council representatives here in Eugowra, a town that's been devastated, a town where 2 lives were lost, and 1 in 3 of this town, some 159 people, were rescued either by chopper or by boat. A town that's been devastated, and we've seen that today. But it's a town that's resilient. It's a town where people want to rebuild this town and this community. And it's quite inspirational seeing the courage and resilience of people in this fantastic local community. And I want to thank all the people who've come in, whether they be ADF personnel who were on the ground straight away, or whether they be the SES, the resilience people from New South Wales Government, federal government representatives, and volunteers from all around New South Wales who've come into this local community to hose out a home or to help out locals, remove debris. It's been quite extraordinary, the effort that we're seeing here. This morning we're announcing a joint Commonwealth State further support for disaster recovery. Grants of up to $50,000, the first $25,000 of which can be paid very quickly. Further $25,000 upon receipts being shown. That is eligible for all small businesses here in this community, but also for not-for-profit organisations. This is Commonwealth State jointly working together. That's what people want to see, and I want to thank Dominic. We had conversations and text messages over the last week about these issues. I pay tribute to the cooperation that's there between the Commonwealth and the state government. This is about working together, and the local mayor here, who's shown us around, has done an extraordinary job representing his local community as well.
Well, I want to thank the Prime Minister for the Commonwealth support. Being on the ground today together, we have seen a very great town, and you see the best of people. And the people of Eugowra have gone through a very difficult time. But the best thing about what we've seen is people have looked beyond themselves and looked after each other. As the Prime Minister has said, 159 flood rescues. There were 14 aircrafts in the air. But to see the progress, to see the clean-up, to see the community come together with such strength and unity is such a wonderful thing, and I think it shows the best of our people. Eugowra does represent the best of Australia, and we've seen that on display over the last week. I echo the Prime Minister's comments in relation to the spirit of service that we've seen from people all over the state. We've met people who have left their own towns to come here to help, to go to businesses to help clean them out, to go and help pick up debris. That is, I think, the spirit that makes our country the best place anywhere in the world, and we've seen it after disaster, from droughts to floods to bushfires to floods again. We see Australians come together to help. I want to thank our volunteers, not just our uniformed volunteers, but they've done an amazing job. The ADF, and once again I want to thank the Prime Minister for the ADF support and all the ADF personnel who have been on the ground, not just here but right around the state. Day one on the ground, looking after people, and that's what we've seen during this period. I want to thank Kevin, the Mayor, as well of this area. It is councils, state governments, Commonwealth governments, all working together to help our people get through. We said to the people today that Eugowra is going to come back. The progress has been strong in 5 days. We are going to rebuild in a more resilient way, and that's going to be that will ensure Eugowra has a very strong future, and everybody here, and that's our commitment to the people today. In addition to that, just on the small business grants, we know that this will make a real difference. We've seen these grants in following other natural disasters, really supporting businesses get back on track, giving them the confidence that they can open. We already saw today, Australia Post has opened, and that's a great thing for the community, and that's inspiring and giving confidence to other businesses that they'll get there as well, and you can already see that progress. We have a recovery centre which was opened yesterday, which is right behind us. They're already seeing hundreds of people coming through, getting Commonwealth state government services, getting the support they need. I want to thank all of those people who are operating that recovery centre, because they are there to give care and comfort to our people and make sure that they have the confidence to get back on their feet as quickly as possible. Finally, I just want to mention mental health support. Lifeline are doing a great job on the ground. I want to thank them for what they do. We know that this is a very traumatic period of time for many people. Many people have lost everything, and there's the shock at the start, but there needs to be that mental health support going forward. So Lifeline are on the ground here with government support, and in addition to that, we will have mental health supporters. So we have mental health support on the ground as well through our health department, and we will be increasing capacity there as well, not just in the short term, but on the long journey ahead. Now I'll take questions.
Prime Minister, you're on the record when announcing the buyback scheme in other parts of New South Wales, saying we should not be building or rebuilding on floodplains. But here today, you're saying this community will rebuild. Which one is it? Should we be building or not rebuilding?
No, we should be building appropriately. What we shouldn't do in Lismore, the Premier and I joined together to support some buybacks in communities that were impacted regularly and consistently. What we need to do is to make sure that we do get planning right. There's no inconsistency here. In addition to the announcement about small business grants and not-for-profits, in addition now we've extended support to 46 local government areas will receive $1 million to provide support for them for the recovery.
Prime Minister, people here, just everyday Joes, not landholders, primary producers and small business owners, can only access a one-off $1,000 relief payment with $400 on addition for children. Is that enough? People here say that they will barely scrape the barrel.
Look, I understand that people would regard whatever support is given, that it's really tough, and people are doing it tough. We're providing whatever support that we can. We're providing support for individuals. We're providing support for small business, for not-for-profits, as well as providing support for local government. This is an extensive support that we're providing here in New South Wales, in Victoria, in Tasmania.
But the vast majority can't rebuild because they can't get insurance cover. How are you dealing with that?
Look, this is a challenge issue of insurance, and I know that Murray Watt, our Emergency Services Minister, is talking to insurance companies about these issues. This is an ongoing challenge that we have to deal with. It's one of the things that we heard again today about, is that so many people haven't been able to get insurance because of the high premiums which are there. It's something that the government is attempting to deal with over a period of time. We'll continue to engage with the insurance industry.
Prime Minister, how can you expect this community to rebuild if you don't provide just everyday residents with more than one-off $1,000 payments?
Well, we're providing what support we can to people at this time. These grants are available for people, and we're providing that support.
Will there be more? Will you increase that?
I'll just add to that. It's not just those one-off payments for individuals and households. There is a range of financial support packages available. So for primary producers, up to $75,000, which is Commonwealth and state funded. There are a range of initiatives in place, and we will do everything we can to ensure that everyone gets back on their feet. Now, in relation to insurance companies, I'll just make the point that I've spoken to last week to the Insurance Council of Australia, and insurance companies should put people before profits. And we'll work very closely with them, Commonwealth and state, to make sure that support, and if we need to look at innovative products, we'll work with the insurance companies and the Insurance Council of Australia to get that done.
Premier, you've received rather frosty and well when you last came here on Friday. How has the response been today?
Well, I'd say that's not true. I mean, go and speak to the people of Eugowra during this period of time, and what I've sensed on the ground last week and this week is that people are very appreciative of state and Commonwealth government members being on the ground, and that gives hope, that gives confidence that we're going to rebuild. Now, obviously last week, Mr. Jones was upset, and why wouldn't he be? It's been a very horrendous time, and I spoke to him this morning, and he's going well. And he also raised with me that the cleanup is going incredibly well also. So I think that when towns and communities go through such tragic events, there's obviously emotion and people are upset, but our commitment from the Commonwealth and state level, Prime Minister and the Premier and all the ministers and local members and council, is that we're going to rebuild and we'll be with this community every step of the way.
Premier, when you say you're going to build this town in a more resilient way, what do you mean by that? Are you going to move this town to higher ground? How can you build it?
We'll work through those issues, but I'll make this point about flooding. Almost every place across New South Wales right now, every community across New South Wales right now is at risk of flood. Our rivers are full, our dams are full, the catchments are full, and over summer as well, there are difficult times that lie ahead. But what we're committed to is not making the same mistakes of the past. We can't, in many circumstances, unwind the past. What we can do is not make those mistakes going forward. The Prime Minister, through National Cabinet, and I'll be doing some work in relation to, from a national level, how we can make sure we build back in a way and continue to develop in a way that doesn't put life and property at risk.
Do you think it was a mistake to develop in
No, because communities like Eugowra are just as at risk of flooding as many across the state. As the Prime Minister said, in Lismore and places like that, we embarked on a buyback scheme, but we've tailored our responses to those circumstances. But where there is high risk, we shouldn't be developing on those floodplains where there is high risk. But it needs to be done in a balanced way, and that's exactly what we'll do. And you don't go through these events without learning from them, and that's what we'll be doing.
If they applied for funding today, how quickly would it end up in their bank account? How long does it take?
Well, Service New South, and one of the great aspects of the business grants is that the first $25,000 gets out the door incredibly quickly. Well, as soon as those applications go in, they're processed immediately by Service New South Wales. Yeah, within days. And Service New South Wales do a really good job in making sure those funds are out the door into people's pockets as quickly as possible. Well, then the invoices are required for the second $25,000, but very quickly as well. So once those applications go in, we've got teams of people. You would have seen just today coming in, Service New South Wales bus on the ground, mobile bus on the ground here to provide that support. That's in addition to the recovery centre. And I want to say this as well, we've learned a lot, we've come a long way. If you look at in the northern rivers, the time it took to get recovery centres was weeks. Here we are, 1 week after the event, recovery centre established, Service New South Wales in town, and the Service New South Wales teams will be travelling all through the Central West, giving that care and support for those people who need it. Thanks.
What infrastructure will be put in place to prevent further disasters like this from happening in the future?
Well, we'll work through that, but I'll make this point finally on the road infrastructure, because I think that's been lost here. Today we have 200 crews going out as well across the Central West. We'll be deploying them to make sure that our roads are rebuilt as quickly as possible. We know after these heavy events that infrastructure needs to be built back in a more resilient way. We're committed to doing that. It was a key finding of the O'Kane Fuller report. Anyway, thanks very much.
Thank you.
I don't have flood cover because of the coast, and